watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Anne, and this is Postcards from My Golden Years. And I know you're probably watching this on Sunday, or at the earliest on Sunday. And today's Valentine's Day, the day that I am actually recording this message. The video that I'm going to show you or share with you, we actually recorded in Paris in December. And I've had so much video that we shot when we were in Nice and Paris that I haven't been able to get it all out. But the one thing that I wanted to share with you this week is our last night in Paris. So we're bouncing around a little bit. The next video maybe back to Nice again. The reason I'm sharing this with you this week is because we had this little splurge on our very last night in Paris. And let me back up a step on this. First of all, Jeff and I are not wealthy people. I know sometimes we do some very extravagant things, and to be very honest, you know, Jeff is an architect and he does fairly well, or very well, and his long hours of work and hard work and, you know, the nice salary that he brings in enables us to do those luxurious things. So, of course, you know, Jeff is retiring. As of when you're watching this, as of the premiere date on Sunday, I believe Jeff has maybe 10 more work days. So he's like coming to the end of his long architectural career. But, so when he retires, that nice paycheck won't be coming in anymore. And Jeff and I will be living in France, in Nice, on our Social Security monthly income. Now, fortunately, we both, you know, we did well during our working days, so that it availed us of a very comfortable Social Security monthly payment. No, we're not going to be millionaires, and we're definitely not going to be living at the same financial level that we're living at today. So that's all going to come to a screeching halt on March 1st. But when we were in Paris, the very last thing that we wanted to do, we wanted to treat ourselves to something wonderful that both of us had always wanted to do. It was sort of a bucket list item. And you know, for years, ever since I started going to France, and Paris in particular, with all of my husbands, and most of you who have hung out with me for the years that I've been doing this channel, you know that I've been married 3 times. I saved the best for last. So with each husband, every time we went to Paris, it was a tradition that we would go to the Paris Ritz and we would sit at the bar and have a glass of champagne. And so with husband number 1, we would go and we would have this glass of champagne at the bar, and that was it. We would leave. That glass of champagne, back in the days when we first started going there, we were using francs, not euros, and I forget what it cost, but it was expensive. So then, moving along, husband number two didn't want to just have a glass of champagne, so we would splurge for an appetizer. And I think the very first one that we splurged for were, I think it was smoked salmon on toast points. And they gave us 3 little toast points with teeny little pieces of smoked salmon and creme fraiche on top and a little dollop of caviar on top. And I think that the appetizer, that little 3 Toast Point appetizer, was probably the equivalent back in those days of maybe $35 US. And of course, the glass of champagne was probably the equivalent of $25 or $30 US. So we were not talking about a cheap little 2 glasses of champagne. It was probably, by the time taxes were added in, it was probably $100 US equivalent back in those days. So then we fast forward to my sweetheart, Jeff. And Jeff, of course, had to come with me and embrace this tradition of always going to the Paris Ritz when we go to Paris, just one time. And so we would go to the bar at the Ritz, and I would say to him, okay, let's just order a glass of champagne or wine or whatever. And we would order that, and he would say, no, let's just have lunch too while we're here. So we graduated to lunch, and it was like, oh, okay, wow. So, and at Paris Ritz prices, you can imagine what lunch, and I'm talking the first time I think he had a hamburger and I had a salad. And I want to say it was probably close to the equivalent of maybe $200. So over time, that's what we would do. We would go to the Ritz. We've never been to the Ritz for dinner. So we would just go and have lunch, and we would have 1 glass of champagne or 1 glass of wine or a cocktail. But we graduated up. And we always said, Jeff and I always said, one day, wouldn't it be fun to spend the night there? And then I went online before we traveled to France back in November and December. I went online and I thought, well, if we're ever going to stay at the Paris Ritz, it's going to have to be while we have good money coming in. So I looked at the rate, and I want to say that I think it was $2,300 US, including the tax, because there are a bunch of taxes there. I think it was around $2,300 US for one night at the Ritz. That was the least expensive room. And I said to Jeff about 2 months before we left, I said, what would you think? Because at that point, I still hadn't booked a room for our last night in France. We were flying up from Nice to Paris, and I needed 1 night because the next morning we had to go to the airport to fly home. I said, what would you think? And I know this is crazy, but what would you think of 1 night at the Paris Ritz? Because once you retire, we're never going to be able to afford that again. And he said, do it, book it, book it, book it. So I booked it, and we sort of had this loose agreement that, okay, well because it's so expensive for 1 night at the Paris Ritz, we'll make it our Christmas gift to each other, and Valentine's Day, and we'll throw in Easter, and as many holidays as it takes to sort of make up for that huge splurge. So that's what we did, and we were so excited. It was, we had this wonderful, wonderful trip in Nice. We had gone there hoping to look at some apartments. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but we also spent some time in Paris, and we got to meet our friend Janice in Paris. If you didn't see that video, check it out. I'll put a link up here somewhere. If you haven't checked out Janice in France's YouTube channel, she is this wonderful lady who has become a friend of ours. She's in our age range, so she's another golden oldie like us. And she has a wonderful channel. This lady went over to France all by herself, didn't know a soul, and she lives in Fontainebleau, which is outside of Paris. But she gets to get on the train any day she wants, and she can be in Paris in 20 minutes. But she has a wonderful YouTube channel. She's a very special lady. We appreciate her. So if you haven't checked out her channel, check it out. Okay, back to us. Back to us now in Paris at the Ritz. So we wanted to share with you our one romantic night at the Paris Ritz. And again, this is not the way we normally live, and this is probably the most expensive hotel room I have ever booked in my life, or ever will from here on out, unless one of us has a very wealthy relative we don't know exists that passes away and leaves us a lot of money, and then, oh my God, God forbid, the inheritance laws in France. I don't even want to think about that. Okay, so let's get on with the video. Thanks for watching. Here we go. I don't know which side the video's on, but here we go. So tonight we are actually having a late lunch, and we're both having chicken clubs. Chicken, bacon, fries, kind of keeping it light.
In London when you beat us last year.
for watching the video. We had a great time at the Paris Ritz. I mean, I tried to capture every single little detail of that room in case I never ever get to set foot in one again. Although I do have to tell you that, you know, we may go back to doing our little splurge of a glass of champagne at the Ritz bar whenever we go to Paris. And once we're living in France, I'd like to go to Paris once a month. I mean, it's only a train ride away, and it's a high-speed train. We can be in Paris in 5 hours, just in time for that glass of champagne and maybe a little appetizer. So thanks again for watching. I think I might have 1 or 2 more videos that I'd like to share with you next time and the next time after in Nice. And I wanted to share with you this Friday we are going to Miami. It is our in-person meeting for our long stay visa. So I don't think we're going to be able to do any videotaping inside. As a matter of fact, I can tell you right now, I'm not even going to attempt it. However, we'll at least take you to the outside of the building and show you that. And the great news is we think we have an apartment in Nice. While I'm recording this, we have just gotten a phone call that actually woke us up at like 6:30 US time from the wonderful representative of Adrian Lee's company who's working with us in finding an apartment. And she called us to let us know that the final step in the process is to have a Zoom call with I believe the landlord. So by the time you see this video on Sunday, we hope it will be a done deal, but you know, fingers crossed. And I'll give you an update in the next video next week. So be sure to check it out. I don't know if we'll have our visas by that time. Who knows how fast things will process from Miami, but things are moving along. So thank you again for watching. Please, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. You know, the weeks are ticking away. We are going to be on that plane at the beginning of April. Can't wait to start our new life in Nice. And Jeff and I will be bringing you weekly vlogs, sharing our new life with you. Getting settled. We'll show you the apartment if we get it. Fingers crossed. We'll do it all. You're not going to want to miss it, so be sure to subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now, and happy Valentine's Day!